Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our P5 Parent Engagement session. My name is Miss Emily Lim, the Assistant Year Head of Upper Block, and I will be your host for today's webinar. We truly appreciate you taking the time to join us as we share important updates and insights to support your child's learning journey. Today's agenda is as follows: a sharing session by our principal, Mrs. Christina Tan, on key updates and strategies to support our enthusiasm students, a Q&A session where we'll address your questions, and last but not the least, an overview of the upcoming P5 camp and what parents can expect. We will now invite Mrs. Tan to begin her sharing. Mrs. Tan, please.
Hi, good morning, parents. Welcome to today's P5 engagement session. This year, we thought that we wanted to hold a virtual session because we thought it might make it easier for parents to take time off your busy schedule to join us today. So hope you didn't have any challenges logging in. Okay, to begin, I would like to share a little bit about our school vision. So your child has been with us for 5 years. We hope that at the end of your child's 6 years journey, we will be able to develop your child into a learner, thinker, and leader. Someone who loves learning, takes feedback and learn from mistakes, works hard and persevere, a thinker, a student who likes to ask questions, looks for solution, reflects on decision, and a leader. And leader doesn't mean that someone who takes on a position, but someone who's able to lead himself or herself, takes responsibility, makes good decisions, and help others. Next, I hope you have had the chance to learn from your child about the names of your form teachers. At the end of this session, we will be uploading the slides onto the website so you can take a look and see who the form teachers are. And in charge of this level is Miss Emily Lim. She addressed you just now. Okay, for the focus of upper primary students, we want to focus on fostering key skills and qualities that will prepare them for transition to secondary school while encouraging personal growth. So you will find that other than academic stretch and support programs, your child will be going through various programs such as the P5 Camp, NE Show, P5 Oral C program, and the P5 Young Environmental Enthusiasts. We hope that other than preparing for PSLE, the key thing is about developing their independence, confidence, and their sense of identity. For them to find out their strengths and weaknesses through the P5 Camp and also foster their sense of identity to the nation. The other two things that we would like to share with you is about a recap of the subject-based banding as well as the DSA, which is something that we hope that we can give you some prior information so that you can better prepare your child in the journey moving ahead. So for subject-based banding, this is just a recap because your child would have gone through this last year, but still it is important to go through this before we start the year. So for subject-based banding, we hope that the rationale is that we want to introduce each child to realize their potential based on their interests and strengths and to help the child to take the subject at a level that is appropriate for him or her. So what is subject-based banding? We hope that subject-based banding can allow your child some flexibility by offering them the option that allows them to take the subject based on their strengths, whether it is standard or foundation subject. It will also help your child to stretch their potential in the subjects that they are strong in while building the fundamentals. So what is the difference between standard and foundation subjects? So subjects at the foundation level will focus on the mastery of core content and skills. In terms of the content covered, it is slightly less than the standard level subjects. In terms of assessment duration, it is less demanding, as well as total marks and the format, it is less demanding as well. So how does SBB work? At P4, which is last year, your child would have sat for the school examination. The school actually recommends a subject combination based on the results that your child has achieved at the end of last year. And then we actually provided you with an option form for parents yourself to indicate your child's preferred subject combination. One thing to note is that at P5, your child takes the preferred subject combination. However, the school will assess your child's ability to cope with the subjects at the end of the year. And if your child is unable to cope, adjustments will be made to the subject levels, and your child will offer the subject combination that's decided by the school. And at P6, your child will then take the subject combination recommended by the school and sit for the PSLE. So this information can also be found from the MOE website. Maybe to illustrate it further, right, I will refer you to look at this slide here. So at P4, your child would have taken the P4 results and the results are being calculated. The school, when we recommended the subject combination, it is really based on your child's aptitude, motivation, as well as performance in the subject. Also, the teacher would have considered your child's ability to cope with that subject combination. At P4, parents eventually have the final say in what combination your child will choose. At the end of this year, P5, we will take a look at how your child has performed, and then the school will then make adjustment, again by considering your child's aptitude, motivation, and performance. But this time round, the school will then decide which subject combination best suits your child's ability. So, at the end of P6 next year, what happens is that after the PSLE, your child will then choose the school of their choice. And in the Set 1 posting, your child will be posted to a school based on the PSLE score as well as the choice order. And when your child enters Secondary 1, secondary schools will implement full SBB, and your child will be able to study different subjects at different levels according to the level that is most suited for your child. So for information on Set 1 posting, we will be sharing more with you next year when your child is at P6. Another question that many parents want to ask is, should my child take higher mother tongue? Some of the parents here, your child may already be taking higher mother tongue. You may be considering, should my child continue to take? I think a few key questions that we should be asking ourselves is, does my child have an interest and a flair for the mother tongue language? And whether my child is coping well in English, math, and science as well as my mother tongue. What we need to know is that if your child takes higher mother tongue, an additional hour per week outside the curriculum is required for your child to complete the higher mother tongue syllabus. There are also 2 examinations for your child, one for standard mother tongue and one for higher mother tongue. So if your child has already opted to do higher mother tongue at P5 this year, we strongly encourage your child to continue to take this for the whole year. The reason is because we hope to educate the child to honor their commitment. But not to worry if you decide at the end of the year that your child does not take higher mother tongue, because in secondary school, if your child is able to do well, he or she may still be offered higher mother tongue in the secondary school. So eligibility for higher mother tongue in secondary school, the eligibility criteria that is set, that you are seeing the slides here, is to really ensure that your child can cope with the higher academic load. So the criteria is a PSLE score of 8 or better, or a PSLE score of 9 to 14, and attain AL1 or AL2 in mother tongue, or a distinction or merit in higher mother tongue. And for parents who are concerned about enrolling your child into a SAP school in secondary school, not to worry. Your child need not take higher mother tongue in order to enter a SAP school. So what is the benefit of taking higher mother tongue then? Students who pass higher mother tongue and who pass higher Chinese and achieve a PSLE score of 14 or better can receive a posting advantage for admission into a SAP school. So next, this may be something that you might be quite keen in. It's about direct school admission for secondary school. For your child will be if your child is keen to apply for direct school admission, this will only be done when your child is in primary 6. However, we would like to share the information with you so that you can better prepare your child and work closely with your child to engage in a discussion before next year. So what exactly is DSA? Direct school admission, it provides P6 students with the opportunity to gain direct entry into a secondary school. So this is based on their talent in sports, selected CCAs, or a specific academic area before your child takes a PSLE. So this is purely optional. If you wish to participate in this, you can apply for it next year. If you do not wish to participate in this, children who did not apply for DSA will continue to seek admission based on their PSLE result through the Set 1 posting exercise. So some things to note, if your child is already admitted to a secondary school through the DSA, they are not allowed to participate in the Set 1 posting process. So if they are already admitted, there's no need for them to choose the school anymore after the PSLE is out. Neither can they transfer to another school because children who are already admitted to a secondary school via DSA must commit to their chosen school for the duration of the program. One thing for parents to note is that DSA may not necessarily be a pathway that will suit every child. It is important that both parents, yourself, and your child consider carefully what are the strengths and interests, what are the school's requirements, the school that you are interested to apply for DSA, what is the school requirement, and also what are the programs available to develop that area of talent. So to reiterate, how do I know whether DSA should be a decision that I wish to take? So if your child has a talent in an area, or if your child is very passionate and committed to developing that particular strength, then perhaps DSA is something that you may wish to consider. So in choosing DSA schools, please discuss with your child his or her strengths and interests. And based on that strength or interest, for example, if your child is strong in hockey, shortlist the schools with DSA area in hockey that match your child's strength and interests. So some of the typical areas of DSA would include creativity, entrepreneurship and innovation, languages and humanities, leadership and uniform group, performing arts, STEM, sports and games, visual arts and media. So you can apply to the individual school when the application opens next year. So for selection of students, the selection process differs across the various secondary schools for different DSA categories. It all depends on what DSA area that you are applying to. Sometimes a student may be asked to submit a portfolio to showcase their talents or achievements, for example, for art. Sometimes the child may be required to submit other information such as a personal statement or a character reference. So more information can be found in the school's website next year. So schools may also choose to administer interviews, tests, trials, or selection camps. So what are some of the possible outcomes of the DSA application? Your child may receive a confirmed offer, means the student already has a place reserved in the school as long as he or she qualifies for the course offered by the school. Your child may also be on the waiting list, means your child will only be given a place only if the students with confirmed offer rejects the outcome, or it may be successful, which means your child will not be given a choice in the school and will join the Set 1 posting exercise. So some more points to note. All students, the P6 students, will have a choice whether or not to participate in DSA. This is purely optional. And please choose carefully before opting for DSA, because once you have accepted the offer by the school, your child should honor the commitment and will not be allowed to choose during the Set 1 posting. So for further information, you can go to School Finder. The link is provided on the slide. You can also look out for information in the MOE website about direct school admission. We have the timeline here for the DSA exercise. January to May, the schools will offer different talent areas and every school will have its selection process. You can visit the individual school's website for more information. From May to June, this is the application period. And when next year, when it's nearer the application period, you'll be informed of the timeline. By September, different schools would have already shortlisted the different candidates and you will be informed duly. And October, you can choose up to 3 school choices, and November, you will receive the school allocation results. So for DSA, we will be reminding you and sharing more information with you next year when your child is in P6. This year, if you are keen, what you can do is go to the school finder, look at the different schools, your child, what are the talent areas or your child interest areas, look at the different websites, and then what is it that they're requesting for so that you have some time to discuss before the timeline next year. So now I will move on to the next section because many parents actually ask, how can parents support the child's learning and development? So we thought that it would be useful to share some information with parents. I think for parents with children in upper primary, you might be feeling a little bit stressed or a little bit concerned, not knowing how you can be a good support for your child. I think 3 things are important. Number 1, being a role model. We can show the children the skills and values that they need for life. And this is really important. Number 2, cultivate real connections. Develop strong relationship with your child and healthy habits so that your child will be able to share his or her challenges with you safely. And number 3, schools and parents will work closely together. Let me share a little bit more on each of this. So before I move on, right, I thought I want to share this quote. The home is the child's first school and the parent is really the child's first teacher. You play such an important part in the child's life. And therefore, being a role model, showing your children the skills and values that they need for life is really important. I know that many of us are working parents and we may be really very busy. By the time we reach home, we are really very tired. Do try to find time in everyday experiences and find joy in connecting with them on a regular basis. Because some of these interactions would be very important and so that they will feel that they have someone that they can speak with. Instill confidence in them. Sometimes we may get maybe quite frustrated with our child, but continue to encourage them, instill confidence, and believe in their ability. And last but not least, model good values in words and action. So if you want more information, we have provided a QR code on this slide and you can view the video for more information. Next is about real connections. I think in this digital age, it is important for us to maintain strong relationship and healthy habits of digital use together with the child. Let us work with the child to establish good habits so that they are able to stay in control of the technology use. And as parents, it is very important for us, right, when we interact with our own children, provide a mix of online and offline activities. And also, like what I've said just now, build strong bonds through meaningful conversations as well as shared experiences, regardless of what these experiences may be. Again, MOE has provided a parenting for wellness toolbox that you can refer to via this QR code. I think many of us, right, would have seen this newspaper article or even heard about this, the Grow Well Singapore. Singapore has launched this just a couple of days ago. And in this Grow Well Singapore, there are 4 things that are being emphasized. Eat well, sleep well, learn well, and exercise well. And in the Parents Gateway yesterday, you would have received some information. Do go into Parents Gateway, take a look at this information. And from an educator's point of view, I think we would like to share with you a little bit more about sleep well and learn well. So I was just looking at the Straits Times, right, since last year, and I collected the newspaper articles related to sleep as well as cyber wellness. So these are the articles on sleep, and the next one, which you will see quite a number of articles, this is about screen time. And the reason why I want to share is to really highlight that the reason why there are so many articles on Straits Times really signifies to us the importance of these two things, sleep time as well as screen time for the children. So if you have read the news, you would know that there's new MOH guidelines on screen use for children under 12. And as educators, I think many of my key personnel and teachers would really agree with me that as we interact with the children across the years, we notice that in recent years, with increased use of digital devices, the children, actually, we have seen that the children's attention really has reduced. And this is why Ministry of Health is really suggesting these guidelines. So if I can refer you to the picture on the left-hand side at the bottom for 7 to 12-year-old, parents are strongly encouraged to limit the screen use to less than 2 hours a day, unless related to school homework, and work with your child to develop a screen use plan or a timetable. It may be quite challenging, I understand, from parents' point of view. If my child is already finds it very difficult to give up screen time, what should I do? I think at the age of 11 and 12, sometimes the children feel that they are mature, and therefore it is important for parents to have a discussion with the child. And also perhaps even share some of the articles in the news on the adverse effects of screen time and help the child to reflect on these are some of the consequences and how to actually cut back on the screen time. And have regular conversations with your children to find out about their online activities, because sometimes the online activities may involve them in chatting with strangers online whom we don't know who they are. And for parents, if possible, do not give your children with mobile devices with unrestricted access. And if you can, use parental control settings to assure that the children access age-appropriate content and apps, and don't give them access to social media services, as well as the last one, which I personally think it is the most important, no screen time during meals, as well as 1 hour before bedtime. So on the right-hand side, you will see that I've highlighted two things here. I have lifted this from the Singapore Integrated 24-hour guidelines for children and adolescents. This is a guideline by KK Hospital. Again, this reiterates the fact that it is important for screen time to be limited and less than 2 hours. In terms of the hours of sleep, 9 hours for children aged 7 to 12. And this is really important because if your child is well rested, then your child can focus well in class. And if your child can focus well in class, I think when your child goes home, your child will be able to retain the information better. I think another thing about sleep, which I shared with the P1 parents, is that actually sleep is really important because when we sleep, that is the time where the information is being organized in our brain. And that helps in the retention. So with insufficient sleep, our brain is unable to organize this information for retention. And this will then become cognitively, the load is very high for the child if the child doesn't have enough sleep and yet has to go through tuition or lessons. So I found this acronym from these two newspaper articles, SCREEN. And I thought it is quite a good way to summarize what we can do in this very difficult time to work with our child to control screen time. Next, I think close communication between school and parents are really important. And I would like to take the chance to thank the parents here because I think we have had a very good 5-year working relationship that my teachers have with all the parents. I think we have worked very closely to communicate what are your child's strengths as well as what are the areas that the teachers can better support you in. Let us continue with this relationship, and let us continue to understand each other's perspective and concerns regarding the child. And in terms of communication, right, maybe I would like to take this chance to seek your understanding. Teachers actually, they do not need to share their personal mobile numbers with parents, although I know that many of my teachers here, they do share their personal mobile numbers. Yeah, because we also want to respect the teacher's time by communicating during working hours. I really seek your understanding that after working hours, if my teacher is unable to reply you, please wait till the next day and my teacher will be able to respond to your queries. If there's anything urgent, you can always email the school email address, and we will try our very best to get back to you as soon as possible. So I want to take this chance to also thank you, because I think the partnership between parents and school is really a very important one, and we really value the good relationship that we've had all these years. So I thought I will also take the chance to remind parents, Parents Gateway is really very important. Please check the Parents Gateway regularly, because sometimes when we post important information and when we go in and take a look, we realize that because parents are very, very busy, they may not have the time to go and read these important announcements and messages. So if I can take this chance, I would like to encourage you, should you see a prompt on your Parents Gateway app, please take a look at it. And if you want to keep in touch with us, our website and Facebook would also be important places that you can look out for in terms of information. And lastly, before I move on to the Q&A, I really want to share that at the end of the day, right, the key to a child's success is really the positive involvement of parents. Teachers can try all that we can, but without parents, really, it is very tough for us. And we are glad that we are able to work really closely with you. So I will now move on to the Q&A, where I have with me my key personnel from the different subject areas. My KPs and I, we will be more than happy to answer your questions. If you have questions, you can key in your questions in the webinar chat, and we will be more than happy to answer your questions. Okay, I think there is one question from a parent about standard Chinese dropping to foundation Chinese. How will it impact the PSLE result? In terms of the PSLE result, right? The result that your child gets for the foundation Chinese, depending on what your child gets, A, B, or C, it will be matched according to the AL score. For A, it will be AL6, B, AL7, and C, AL8. So for that will be the corresponding score. So it will not really affect your child's PSLE result. I think what is most important is that your child should choose a subject combination that it best suits your child's learning ability and help your child to be able to cope well with it. Ms. Wong, would you want to supplement if I have missed out anything?
No, thank you.
Okay, for the next question we see on the screen, is my child is taking higher mother tongue this year. If the result is not good in PSLE, will this affect the total score AL? Maybe we can invite Ms. Wong, Mother Tongue HOD, to actually take on this question. Ms. Wong?
Okay, maybe I will answer. I think Ms. Wong's speaker may not be working. If you were to take a look at the Q&A segment, right? My subject head for Malay language already answered the question. So the question is, if my child is taking higher mother tongue, if the result is not good in PSLE, will this affect the total score AL? So Madam Nole answered, your child's higher mother tongue score will not affect the PSLE score. I will supplement by explain a little bit more. Because higher mother tongue grades, right, will not be calculated into a total AL score, right? So what is the benefit? The benefit is that should your child, right, decide to take on higher mother tongue in secondary school, then your child perhaps would have already continue with higher mother tongue in primary school and therefore be able to assess the higher mother tongue better. And if your child is applying to a SAP school, then the higher mother tongue result will be useful in that sense. In terms of the tiebreaker question here, is DSA recommended by the school or self-applied? So for DSA, right, it is entirely up to parents to decide together with the child whether or not it is suitable for your child. So the school will not recommend the DSA.
Okay, we have the next question on the screen. In the event that the school feels that the child should drop standard Chinese to foundation Chinese for P6, will the parent be able to request to keep the child in standard Chinese in P6? Maybe Mrs. Tan would like to take on this question.
Parents, if you recall what I said just now, right? For subject-based banding, right? And this information is also on the MOE website. At the end of P5, the school will make the decision on the subject combination that your child will be taking in P6. But I would like to seek the trust from the parents that any recommendation that we make is really based in the best interest of your child, based on your child's aptitude, motivation, as well as ability to cope with the subject. So in short, if I were to answer your question directly, if your child is requested to drop from standard to foundation, then we really request for the parents' understanding that foundation mother tongue is therefore in the best interest of your child.
Okay, maybe I'll take on the next question here. Will there be any overseas trip planned for P5 students this year? The answer is yes. We'll be giving the P5 parents more information after Chinese New Year. So do look out for our information in the Parents Gateway. All right, thank you. Okay, we have the next question here, which says that, may I know how is the top percent cohort decided, since there are students with higher mother tongue as well as those without higher mother tongue? So the parent here is concerned about the EduSave bursary and other awards. So maybe the school leaders can take on this question.
Okay, for this question, right, for children with higher mother tongue and without higher mother tongue, the school actually makes the decision based on the child's ability to cope with all the subjects. That's the first criteria. Second one would be the child's ability in the mother tongue. So I would also like to assure parents that the school does not maybe another thing that I would like to clarify is that I think parents are very concerned. If my child is in E1, E2, does it mean that my child therefore is the, top students in the school? Actually, the school has already slowly moved away from this. So it doesn't mean that if your child is in E1, E3, E4, your child is therefore no good and should aspire to go to E1, E2. I think the school has already slowly moved away from that. And in terms of the allocation of students in a class, you will realize that there is some mixing across the classes. Okay, maybe I will take on this question. If the child is taking 2S and 2F, 2 standard and 2 foundation subject, can the child qualify for G1 or G2 in secondary school? So I will answer this question. I think whether or not your child can qualify for G1 or G2, it depends on the total AL score that is achieved by your child during PSLE. So I think there are a number of questions regarding the qualification for G1, G2, and so on. We will put up the table in the website after this session so that parents can refer. But in short, to answer your question, whether or not the child qualifies for G1, G2, or G3, it all depends on the total AL score that your child received at the end of PSLE. And to follow up from this, right, there is a parent asking, what is G1, G2, and G3? So I think during our time, there is something called the express stream, the normal academic, and the normal technical. So we have already slowly, as a nation, moved away from this streaming, but to help to make things a little bit easier to understand, G3 is something like the Express, G2 is something like the NA, and G1 is something like the NT.
Okay, we have the next question here. How do we know if my child is eligible for DSA? So like what Mrs. Tan mentioned just now about DSA, every school has different criteria for the DSA. So it'll be best to actually look up for the particular secondary school that you're interested in for more information. So you can apply for it, and if your child is shortlisted, you'll be notified by the school itself. All right. Thank you. So parents, just to take note that some of the questions have been answered through the typing on the screen itself. So you might want to check out the responses under the answered tab itself. All right. So maybe just give you another few more minutes to actually type in any more questions that you might have.
So maybe to answer the question about the EduSave Bursary Award, because the parent is asking, right, about whether or not to take higher mother tongue. So maybe to assure the parent, we have children who qualify for EduSave Bursary Awards, and these children are not taking higher mother tongue. Hopefully that provides some assurance for you. But whether or not to take higher mother tongue, really, I think it goes back to number one, whether your child can cope with all the 4 subjects. And number 2, whether your child is able to cope with higher mother tongue. Take this year to let your child try it out. And sometimes in the learning of language, right, time is required for the child to actually press on. Or should you require more information, maybe you can talk to the mother tongue teacher, and your mother tongue teacher who teach your child will be able to have a more in-depth discussion with you. And while we wait for other questions to come in, right, I would like to also take this opportunity to let all the parents know. I think when the child reaches P5 or P6, even though some of them may look like they are still quite playful, but the majority of them, right, understand the importance of being in the upper primary. And therefore, it is important to really stay close with your child, encourage them. And while PSL is important, don't place such high stress on them, because their mental well-being is also equally important.
So we have the next question on the list. If my child don't do well in the final exam, will my child be changed to foundation subjects? So maybe we can have the school leaders to address this part here. Mrs. Tan, would you like to take on the question on the last part about if my child don't do well in the final exam, will my child be changed to foundation subjects?
Okay, so for this question, right, at the end of the year, P5, right, if your child don't do well, I think we also need to look at a few things. So number one, what exactly does it mean not to do well? Is your child overall, we look at overall, we also look at your child's ability to cope. We also look at the different weighted assessment before we decide whether or not we will recommend the subject at foundation level for your child. So if your child is really not performing very well in terms of the score, and the teacher's assessment is that your child may be struggling, then yes, perhaps we will recommend foundation. And I hope that parents can understand that really when teachers make this assessment, right, it is actually through a very long deliberation amongst all the teachers who are teaching your child, and also, right, consideration for what best suits your child, and how and whether your child will be able to do well to get into the course of his or her choice in the secondary school. So the teachers do deliberate and not just look at the raw score, and also the child's ability to continue.
Thank you, Mrs. Tan. So we have one parent who also mentioned that they are very grateful for the teacher's principal concern for the children and reinforcing confidence to parents. So we are very committed to actually working with the parents itself. So thank you very much. Maybe we just take on one more question, one last question here. From Mrs. Lee, how to sign up my child girls E2K science? Maybe we can have Madam Go to answer this on the screen.
Hi. Okay.
Similarly, the next
for
question
E2K
is
science,
on
the
having
selection
E2K
starts
clashing
in,
with CCA.
primary 4, when a child is primary 4. So if your child is
Yeah,
in
so
primary 5,
CCA
will
ends
not
at 5
taking
p.m.
any more new students. Reason being, it's a 2-year program, and it's the training of the skills is progressive. So we're afraid that if we take in children when they're in P5, they may not be able to follow the program. Hence, we don't take in new students in P5. So the intake is in P4.
All right. The next question on the screen is about using of the math textbook. So mentioning that the child did not use the math textbook last year. So at the end of the year, the 4B textbooks are still new and not used. May I know why textbooks are not used during lesson? Maybe we can get Miss Neo to actually answer this.
Answer that question. The textbooks, they actually have some self-practices inside, and the teachers will actually assign this as self-directed learning for the children to actually practice on these questions before they actually work on the questions in the practice book.
Okay, the next question on the screen is in case where a child is offered 4 foundation subjects, what is the chance to get into secondary school of choice? Maybe the school leaders can answer this particular question.
And maybe I will take this question. If you were to go to the MOE website, right, and take a look at the section on PSLE scoring system, it will give you more information, but I will just summarize a little bit here so that's to answer your question. So for children who score PSLE score of 4 to 20, the child will be posted to posting group 3, and the child will be able to take subjects at the G3 level. If the child scores 21 to 22, the child will be given a choice of posting group 2 or 3, meaning the child can then take G2 or G3. If the PSLE score is 23 to 24, then it will be G2. If the PSLE score is 25, it will be G1 or G2. If it is 26 to 30, it will be G1. So this is actually reflected in a table that can be found in the MOE website. But like what I've said just now, if let's say it is useful, I think we will post this website, this information on the website so that you can refer to it after the session.
Okay, the next 2 questions that we have on the screen is regarding science. So the first one, it's for the students who have been offered Science Olympiad in P4. Will they be offered Science Olympiad in P5 as well? And the second question is for the P4 Science, they have noted the syllabus change to focusing more on practical hands-on. However, the exam and PSLE format is still unchanged, and there is no practical exam during PSLE. So how would this align with the PSLE itself? So maybe we can invite Madam Goh to actually address these 2 questions.
Okay, with the new syllabus, even the old syllabus, new syllabus is 2023 new syllabus. Your child will be under the 2023 new syllabus. In the new syllabus, we focus a lot on hands-on so as to develop students' thinking and ways of thinking and doing like a scientist. So in this practical hands-on for the children actually learn how to plan investigation, make conclusion based on the results that they have collected. So all these are relevant, all right, and they will be tested in the PSLE paper, pen and paper. So if you are interested, you can take a look, buy a copy of the PSLE booklet that can be sold in bookshop, popular bookshop. Take a look. They actually test them on the scales. For example, if the aim of the experiment is to test if oxygen is needed for germination, so children have to select relevant setup to allow them to answer such aim. So all these are tested in the way of pen and paper. So for primary school, we do not have practical tests for PSLE. All right. So in order to look at their understanding of the skills or development of skills, such questions do appear in PSLE. Okay. As to Science Olympiad, if they are offered Science Olympiad in P4, in fact, for Science Olympiad, it is a vendor-run program. So if your child participated or signed up for this Science Olympiad enrichment program, they will still be asked to see whether they want to participate in Science Olympiad competition when they are in P5. So not to worry if children will still be given a chance to see whether they want to participate in the competition when they are in P5.
Here we have the next question on the screen. So, my child transferred to JWPS since last year. May I know how to qualify for E2K? So perhaps maybe we can have either Madam Goh or actually Miss Neo to answer this particular question on E2K. Thank you.
All right. I'm answering to the question on my child just transferred to JWPS last year. So your child will be in P4 last year. So if your child is not selected, so unfortunately, I don't think your child will be able to join the E2K in P5.
So the next question on the screen is So standard and foundation students will sit for same paper during PSLE or according to standard or foundation. So maybe I'll take on this question itself. So for standard and foundation students, they will sit for 2 different papers according to the level of subject they're taking as well. Okay.
So, hi parents, give me a little while. We are trying to share screen, right, on this particular website that will help to answer some of the questions that you have raised just now. So when I talk about the MOE website that will give you more information about PSLE, this is what I'm referring to. So we will post the link for you, but I just want to run through some things so as to answer your question. So if I can have the help to scroll down a little bit. Yeah, so on this screen here, you will see that this is an example of how the AL scores will be calculated. So we will look at the English, mother tongue, math, and science, and look at what is the AL score that's received for each of these subjects. The total score will give you the total AL score for the PSLE. And we use this total score to look at which group that your child will be posted to. So if we were to scroll down a little bit more, yes, this is the one. Thank you. So how do we determine what is the AL score? It is dependent on the raw mark here. Okay, so let us scroll down some more. Yes, so for foundation, this was what I was referring to just now. For children taking foundation, in terms of the results, right, what will be reflected will be A, B, and C. And this will then be converted to the equivalent AL. So for A will be 6, B will be 7, so on and so forth. And then we scroll down some more, a little bit more. Okay, so if you were to take time to look at this page here, this would explain a little bit more about using higher Chinese for admission to SET school. Okay, so let us scroll down a little bit. Yes, so I think that's about it. And if you look at the chat function, I think Miss Wenhui, our media blog year head, has already given the link to the MOE PSLE microsite where you can take your time to read the information. And should you require more advice, right, you can always come back to us, to your form teachers or the head of departments to actually find out more.
So with that, we have come to the end of the Q&A session. So now we will go for a short break and we will start the P5 camp briefing at 4:30 p.m. You can stay on Zoom with us and come back later. Thank you very much and see you later. All right, welcome back everyone. Thank you for the wait. We will now begin our P5 camp briefing. To give us an overview of the camp's objectives, activities, as well as logistics, we have Ms. Jin Chia, ST for PAM, as well as Madam Lim, HOD of PAM with us. Ms. Jin Chia and Madam Lim will then answer the questions that you have at the end of the briefing. Now let's welcome Ms. Jin Chia to start with the briefing.
Thank you, parents, for taking time to attend to the briefing today. I will be briefing you all on the objective, location and accommodation, program overview, and activity for the P5 camp. For the P5 camp, we are looking at authentic learning experience outside the classroom where they can live and play with their friends for 3 days, 2 nights. It is also an opportunity to provide a platform for the development of student leadership skills and social-emotional competencies. Most importantly, to build rapport with their form teachers through an in-depth interaction. Their form teacher will be staying with them for this 3-day, 2-night camp. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. Throughout this P5 camp, we would like to involve other students to overcome challenges, come up with solutions, and working together as a class. They'll be led to a stretch zone where they live out of their parents' comfort. And they will not be in a panic zone because safety is our number one concern. For the location, it will be at the Home Team NS Bukit Batok Adventure Center. This is their gathering point. For the tent, they will be sharing an 8-man tent. However, we will only require 5 to 6 students per tent, gender separated. This is to ensure that students have comfort level in a tent where they have pitched their own tent and learn how to tear down the tent by themselves. Also at night, during the tent pitching, they will also have patrol duty by the night duty officer to ensure their safety. The boys and the girls will be separated by a safety net. Next, for the showering part, there is a total of 8 showering cubicles and also 4 toilets. Rest assured that there are ample time for them to take turns to shower. One thing to note, there will be hiking involved, rock wall and zip line at the campsite. So for outdoor hiking, we are looking at them learning to appreciate the nature and to learn more about the outdoors. Next, there will be rock wall, where the students get a chance to try out obstacles to overcome their fear. Of course, we don't expect everyone to reach the top, and they have an opportunity to learn to decide and make decisions on their own. Teachers will be there to watch over them to ensure that the child will not be asked to go beyond what they have fearful for. There will also be fun moments like zip line for the children. For the low elements, they will be asked to balance on obstacle courses. They will be working together to come up with solutions on all the different challenges given to them on the spot. For tent pitching, as mentioned earlier on, they will learn how to pitch the tent and tear down the tent by themselves. They will be very excited for the campfire night. It will be the highlight of the camp where there will be a showcase of their performances and cheers created by the class. For team building, they will also have opportunity to work with their friends, their group, to come up with solutions, to try out differences of ideas, and really learning out of the comfort zone. For the night activity, they'll be blindfolded, leading by pathway, and taking turns to be leaders. Next, I would like to pass the mic over to my colleague, Madam Lim, HOD of PE, Art and Music.
All right, good afternoon, parents. We'd like to assure you that we are following strictly to the MOE guidelines and ensuring that the activities conducted are safe and fun for the students to take part in. One thing to take note is that all activities are challenged by choice. This means that we will not force students to do activities that they are too scared to take part in or have a phobia to attempt. This includes the high elements like the rock wall and zip line. The zip line was chosen over the flying fox as it's much lower and it gives all students the possibility of attempting it at a lower height. We understand parents may have some concerns regarding the high elements and at the rock wall and the zip line activities. If you are uncomfortable with your child taking part in the high elements, as you know, your child in terms of his or her maturity, do write into us and we will not allow your child to take part in the high elements. We hope that this decision is made in consultation with your child because your decision overrides his or hers at the camp. If you have written in, he or she will not be allowed to take part in the high elements, even if he or she is keen to take part in that on that day. Regarding medical considerations, do note that teachers are not allowed to dispense any form of medication to students. As such, please pack your child's medication as needed and label them accordingly. There will be first aiders on duty who will attend to students who may have fallen down or who require medical assistance. In the event whereby the child is in need of more specialized medical attention, rest assured that we'll contact you. This is how you could possibly pack their medication. Do label the medication packs with their name, class, and make sure that they're placed in a Ziploc bag. Regarding food, be assured that your child will be sufficiently fed throughout the camp. Of course, there isn't a choice of food for meals unlike at home, and rest assured that they'll be eating from a licensed halal caterer. Okay, and so this is the reporting for on day 1. On the 20th of February, Thursday, they'll report at 7:20 a.m. at the basketball court. They should be attired in their school t-shirt and shorts. Do help us ensure that they have sufficient repellent sprayed on and they do have it in their day pack because we are going to a campsite where living with the natural environment, it's inevitable that mosquitoes will come by. With regard to packing, we do hope that your child co-packs the main bag as well as the day bags with you so that he or she knows what's in the pack as well as where the things are located. As it is a rainy season now, you may want to waterproof their clothes by putting them in bags for daily use. For example, for day 1, There could be a Ziploc bag that contains their day 2 wear that they could bring to the shower. If needed, they could have a little tote bag or plastic bag with them to the shower for them to hang their toiletries and dry clothes while they shower. We have had instances of students dropping their clothes as they are walking to the shower. For day 3, do take note that the break camp time is 12 p.m. and the dismissal venue is at the basketball court. All right, with regard to the luggage bags, we do hope that students can refrain from using luggage bags, but use duffel bags, backpacks, as well as drawstring bags for the day packs, so that they are able to track the various terrains, as this may be possible from the bus drop-off point to the camping site, as well as move from the camping site to a sheltered area in the event of wet weather. Because this is a camping trip, we hope to embrace the spirit of camping, not glamping. So these are the things that they can put in their day bag that they will be carrying after they wake up around the campsite for their day activities. So non-disposable utensils. This is really to encourage them to bring their own utensils, wash them after each meal, and get ready for the next meal instead of using the disposable utensils. 1 liter water bottle. This is important because they would need this amount of water for their hike where water points may not be conveniently located. So they will have water points located at the campsite, but not at the outdoor areas. Personal medication. This is important that we will need parents to co-pack with your children. Sun protection. This is important in our climate here. Writing materials. This is really for them to do the reflection and to make any notes during the camp. Mosquito repellent. We are hoping that your child can try and use a mosquito spray instead of patches to be environmentally friendly, as well as not having the patches left out in the open when they fall off. So you may want to get a bottle, and that should be sufficient for their 3 days, 2 nights. A torchlight for them to maneuver in the tent at night should they need to use a washroom. This is actually something of their comfort that they can see their surroundings. This is a sample packing list that has been sent out. These will suffice. The students shouldn't need any more other than this. We also do not want them to be packing too many things that they are not using. Okay, so this is a list that students have been asking the teachers whether or not that they're allowed to bring. Do let me go through this list and explain to you the rationale. Handphones. This may be a good time for them to regulate their screen time and focus on their friends, physical activities, and nature. This is a challenge of the current generation, and the outdoors is a good way to distract them from their screens, as what Mrs. Tan has mentioned just now. So we did tell our students, we would be briefing them that they are not allowed to bring any form of electronic devices, be it for entertainment or for personal enjoyment. For example, electronic fans. We do understand that there are some students who may have some medical conditions. If you do have some concerns regarding this, please write in to us. We also strongly discourage them from bringing brand new, expensive watches. No tidbits and soft drinks. All food will be provided, and it will be sufficient for them. We will be briefing the students this whole list as well, and so that they are aware of it. So parents, we want to assure you that this is a campsite that we are going to with professionals running the camp on top of teachers who are taking care of them 24/7. We will not be throwing them into the forest and leaving them there. Your children's safety will be our priority. Thus, if you do not hear from us, as the saying goes, no news is good news. Your children will not be calling you to tell you that they are safe and sound. Yes, they may be homesick. They may miss their favorite pillows and beds, their beloved pets, and doting parents at home. Over the years, we have seen the P5 students mature and grow up from the camping experience in terms of their social skills, or at least appreciate the comfort of their homes even more. But in the event of any emergency, you may call the school office or be in touch with the camp team of teachers. Closer to the camp date, we'll also be giving you more information about this camp and an emergency number that you can contact. With this, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and if you may have any questions, do post them in the chat. Thank you.
We will now move on to answer the questions in the Q&A section. Dear parents, should you have any questions, you can now key them inside the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen. Do give us some time to look through the questions and get back to you regarding that.
Okay, we have a question here. Can parents visit the child every evening at a campsite? No. We hope that your child can grow in a camp with their friends away from the comfort of their familiar environment at home and give them the time and space to learn to be independent. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Maybe I'll come in to add on to what Madam Lim has said. I think in your child's journey, right, educational journey in primary and secondary school as well as JC, your child would, or even polytechnic, your child would at least have 2 to 3 camps in this entire journey. And I think the P5 camp, right, is a very good opportunity to start to prepare your child for subsequent camps that your child will be involved in. And therefore, it is good to let your child learn how to be independent. So while I understand that you will miss your child very much, but many of them, after the camp, they come back to the homes, right? They share many exciting stories about what they did, and trust us, they will enjoy their experience at the camp.
There's a question regarding if my child is sick during the camp, will my child be allowed to to go home? We will actually assess the condition and we will inform the parent if your child is unwell during the camp. We will make a call to the parent and together we will make a decision whether the child will be sent home or to the nearest clinic if there's a need to. So rest assured that your child's safety is our number one concern too. And also to highlight on whether there is a hair dryer or whether there is a certain given to them. It is not a hotel stay, so they will not be a staycation. So the child will be learning how to cope independently in an outdoor environment. So definitely no hair dryer in that sense. Thank you. I have another question where the children sleep. As mentioned earlier on, they will be at the futsal field. So they will sleep inside the tent that they pitched, inside the sleeping bag that they brought along. So it will be an outdoor. In the event that it rains, they will be moved into the sheltered basketball court where is the gathering point that we also shared earlier on in the slides.
We have a question about if a child wants to go to the toilet at midnight, will someone be there to assist? We'd like to assure parents that we have engaged staff to be on sentry duty. We have teachers on sentry duty as well, who will be helping students with these needs. Thank you.
There's a number of questions regarding what to bring. So do check the parent gateway. We actually sent out a letter regarding the camp. So the packing list is actually sent out to the parent gateway as well. So you can refer to there what to bring. Hope that answer the questions for those parents who have concern about what to bring together with your child. But just a gentle reminder to co-pack the bag rather than asking someone or yourself to pack the bag for the child. Reason being because we don't want the child to be at the camp not knowing where their belongings are located or where their medication is.
Hi parents, I think some of you have asked regarding shower facilities. There is no hot water shower facilities there, but do rest assured that our past P5 participants, they have not had much issue with showering there because usually showers are done at night after the activities, and it's actually a good way to cool them down from the heat before they get ready for the night. How many times they are showering? On the program, we do have one shower opportunity at night, but if your child has a habit of showering in the morning, he or she can do it before the program starts, and we do not start the program that early. So based on the program, if he or she needs a shower in the morning before they start the day, yes, by all means, they can do so. Thank you. We do have another question regarding basic medication in the event whereby your child uses it, even though your child does not have any specific health condition. Yes, but do take note that your child knows what medication to take, because the teachers will not be as familiar with the medication that you are passing to your child. So do label the medication clearly so your child knows what to take. Thank you.
There's a very good question regarding the forest walk. For the hiking part, if there is lightning risk alert, definitely there will be a backup wet weather program. The child will be doing team bonding games together with the trainer on site. So rest assured that we will monitor the weather for the day as well. Thank you for the question.
Hi parents, maybe I answer the question about whether or not the P5 camp is compulsory. Like what I've shared just now, in your child's journey, right, your child will go through 2 to 3 camps, and this is part of the MOE's program. So your child is really strongly encouraged to attend the camp unless your child has a medical condition. Like for example, your child happens to be sick, then we understand why your child would miss the camp. Really, like what I've said at the beginning of the parents briefing just now, right? One of the key highlights of P5, right, is the P5 camp. And this camp actually would help to develop your child in resilience, independence. And many of the children, right, that we have seen from different badges, they emerge from the camp much stronger, more resilient. And as they go through the P6, right, preparation for PSLE, they will always remember how they overcome their personal challenges during the camp. And it serves as a very good motivation for them. So I really strongly encourage all parents to, I can understand where you're coming from, your worries, your anxiety, but do trust us, your child's safety and well-being is really the top of our priority. And not to worry, I will go there and visit them every day. And I'm very sure they will be in good hands by our form teachers.
Okay, we have one question on if there are some food that my child don't eat, will she be reprimanded for food wastage? We will encourage our students to finish or rather eat as much as he or she can, because they will need the energy, the nutrients from the food. We do understand that children may have some food allergies or there are some things that they don't eat. I mean, I'm sure you and we also have food that we really don't like, right? So we will encourage them. But if we find that they are eating too little, we will get them to eat more, at least more rice. Yeah. So it's really a camp that we are not forcing them to be challenged beyond their limits, but really be independent, know what their body needs. Thank you. There are also a few questions regarding food. What if my child is hungry after mealtime? What if my child is hungry in between meals? We like to assure parents that they are fed 3 main meals and 2 snacks throughout the day, and should they not be filled during their meals, they can approach the teachers who will feed them. So the teachers will be there to ensure that their welfare is met and that no child will get hungry during the camp. Thank you. Hi parents, there's a question whereby is there any campfire that parents are allowed to join in and watch the kids? I'm afraid we have to disappoint you, is because we do have some space considerations there that we would like the children to be nicely spaced out and be safe there. As this is still part of the camp, we hope that they can learn to bond and work within their team of friends. Some of them not have had good interaction with their friends in school. So this is a good time for them to really bond with their friends. So parents, the campfire is less than 12 hours away from them going home. So if you could just wait for another 12 hours, they'll be home safely to join you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We have come to the end of the Q&A section. We hope this session has been informative and helpful in addressing your concerns as well as your expectations. As we wrap up, we would like to encourage you to stay engaged with us and reach out to us if you have any further questions. So earlier on, I saw that some of the parents were concerned about having, the deck of slides here. So we will be sending a recording of this session to the parents through Parents Gateway at a later date. So do look out for today's recording for the briefing. Okay. Thank you once again for your participation, and we wish you and your child all the best for the exciting year ahead, and do have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.